Welcome to a new episode of Princella's Real World. I'm your girl, Princella. If this is your first time and you like real world, real news, and real views, make sure you click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that way you don't miss out on any content. And if you hear something, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section because I do want to hear your thoughts. All right? I want to hear your thoughts because they are very valuable. So leave a comment in the comment section. Now, I'm going to start my videos off with three things. The first thing is people claim that they want the truth, and they are very adamant about asking for the truth. Like this.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But here's the thing. Robert Greene said in the 48 Laws of Power is to play to people's fantasies. The truth is often avoided because it is ugly and unpleasant. Never appeal to truth and reality unless you're prepared for the anger that comes for disenchantment. Life is so harsh and distressing that people who can manufacture romance or conjure up fantasy are like oases in the desert. Everyone flocks to them. There is great power in tapping into the fantasies of the masses. This is an interesting thing because in the Bible, John chapter 8, verse 32 says, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Well, that's an interesting paradox because people claim they want the truth, yet they hate the truth and they run away from the truth. Therefore, they can never be free because they are captivated inside the thought process of a fantasy. So, if you are not prepared for the truth, this real world is not where you want to be. Now, with that being said, last episode 3, we talked about Maslow's hierarchy of last episode, which was episode 3, we talked about human behavior and how we connected that with John Calhoun's rat utopia experiment and how the environment impacted the psychology and the behavioral patterns of not only animals, but we paralleled that to human beings. And I did mention Maslow's hierarchy of human development or human needs, but I didn't go into real detail. So what I'm going to do is go into detail here about what we mean. Now, on the screen, we have Maslow's hierarchy here. And Abraham Maslow, if you can see this, it says that he was a psychologist who studied positive human qualities and the lives of exemplary people. In 1954, Maslow created the hierarchy of human needs and expressed his theories in this book. A person self-actualization. This is important. Self-actualization, a person's motivation to reach his or her full potential, as shown in Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. A person's basic needs must be met before self-actualization can be achieved. There is nothing on the planet that has ever been created from the top down. Everything in the universe has started from ground zero and built its way up. Infrastructure, houses, humans, everything. The universe itself was created from the bottom and was created. This is why the pyramid is the most powerful symbol that there is, because there's only a few people at the top everywhere. There's only a few people at the top in business. There's only a few people in the top who run the world. There's only a few people, a minority amount of people, who will ever reach self-actualization. And then on top of that, this is where the mind is. At the top is where the people who operate on mind are. The majority of people at the top operate from the top, mind, but they have to build themselves there. And so how does this tie in? Because what we're talking about is people who are on the bottom and trapped in their psychological state of trying to get everything that they need. So a person who is on the bottom, who is focused on finding out where they're going to get their next meal, eating, sleeping, having sex, a person that's focused on that can never be focused on setting a moral code. If you can't figure out where you're going to get your next meal from, how could you have a morality code of thou shalt not steal? Stealing is the last thing that this person is concerned about, because they need to find out where their next meal is coming from. So they're going to get it however they get it. Okay? Sex is a biological need, not only for the male, but it is a biological need for the female. Everyone has to have this as a part of their base, because it's what makes you human. And one of the greatest lies humans have ever been told is that they were created in self-actualization. They were lied to and said that they were beyond that of the animal, but they were created from the bottom and then they rose to the top. So now humans are so desperately trying to reach to a level that they never were in the beginning. You reach that level because you built yourself up. A poor person that's struggling, trying to figure out how to protect themselves in a ruthless, hardcore environment, has no time to be thinking about thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not lie. Those rules do not apply when a person is too busy worrying about protecting themselves from the people who are so trapped in their psychological base. Okay? If you don't have a family support system, okay, and you don't have friends, the last thing you're thinking about is problem solving, accepting facts, and a moral code, because you're too busy lacking stability. Okay? And then if you have low self-esteem because you're barely getting food, you don't have stability in employment, you feel unprotected every day, you don't have any connections, and you don't have any stability as far as support, your self-esteem and your confidence is going to be lacking. And because of that, knowing that you need, as a human need, you need sex, and you need intimacy, your self-esteem will cause you, the low self-esteem will cause you to engage in relationships and in sexual relationships that produce what? Children. Because there is no morality when a person has not met the base, the building blocks of the hierarchy of needs. So again, self-actualization, a person's motivation to reach his or her full potential, as shown in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. A person's basic needs must be met before self-actualization can be achieved. So it is illogical and it is irrational to tell people who have not met all of those needs to jump from the bottom and become self-actualized. There are very few people at the top in any industry, in life, in business, in relationships, it is a minority. The majority will always be at the bottom. The majority will always in every category. So you have to understand that. And forcing people to have children in this state is not going to make them magically become self-actualized. And it's important to understand that self-actualization is where morality comes from. This is where your moral code comes from. You can't expect a person to have a moral code when the foundation has not been met. And it is important to note that John Calhoun made a comparison to the rats and human beings with this statement, and it is very important that we understand it. He says, I shall speak largely of mice, but my thoughts are on man. Both species, he explains, are vulnerable to two types of death, that of the spirit and that of the body. Even though he had removed physical threats, doing so had forced the residents of Universe 25 into a spiritually unhealthy situation full of crowding, overstimulation, and contact with various mouse strangers. Now that's important because Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, it shows you that the majority, all of us start at the bottom, but the majority of us also remain at the bottom. And when you overstimulate and you crowd people into these types of environments, what you actually do is push them further down into the base, which further prevents them from moving up the ladder to self-actualization. All right, so what we're going to see now in this upcoming video is we're going to see what it looks like and hear what it sounds like from a person who is trapped on the base level.
Timothy said his children are not his responsibility. He has left them to be supported by their mothers and welfare. He's not unusual either.
Thinking about holding up for no sex, my man. You know, if a girl, she get having a baby, carrying a baby, hey, that's on her. I'm not gonna stop my pleasures because of another woman.
What about birth control? What about condoms?
Girls don't like them things. They don't like them things. Girl tell you to take them things off. They figure that you saying that they filthy or they dirty or something.
It's been a startling. One died in infancy and the other was aborted. We asked him about the birth of his first surviving child.
It was kind of a funny experience because, me and the girl was just messing around, right? And she was going with somebody else. She used to be an old girlfriend of mine. She managed to get popped up by me.
Okay, that's the second baby. The third was?
Mustafa. He was the third.
That was by another lady?
Mm-hmm. Mrs. Ward. Yes, I go see him every now and then.
How old is he now?
He's 5, if I'm not mistaken. 504, 81.
And then the fourth one was?
Simone. I only saw her twice. 2 times.
What happened to her?
It's a family problem. The father don't want me to see the mother and all that. So I got tired of running behind her and found me someone else. I didn't have to sweat it because I guess the father was taking care of them anyway, so.
How does it feel to have those
women?
No, kids.
Kids? Well, you get to see, if it ain't one thing you've done, like artwork, for instance. You look at your art, you say, this is something that I've done. Just like the carpentry, it's something that you've done. You can see what you've done. If anything, if you don't do nothing, you can see something, what your life was, it was to you.
So the kids are sort of artwork?
Well, not really, but you can, they might grow up to be doctors or actors, and you can say, look, that's my boy, or that's my girl, Whereas, there's some people that can't have children at all.
How do they make it? Where do they get the money?
Well, the majority of them, the mother's on welfare, and welfare gives them the stipend for the month. So what I'm not doing, the government does.
What would happen if the government didn't?
This would be a big disaster, I guess, because you can't give something that you don't have. In order to give, you got to have for yourself.
You see, people out there watching are going to say, why didn't he think about that before he brought 6 kids into the world?
Well, mother had a choice. She could have had an abortion, or she could have kept the child. She decided the way that she wanted to have the child, so therefore, I guess it's not sweating her. I mean, it's not bothering.
You think it's her fault if she gets pregnant?
Well,
I mean, you fought her.
Well, maybe, maybe not. Like they say, mama, baby, papa, maybe. You know what I mean?
All right. So what we just witnessed there was a guy who had nothing else to live for, nothing else going for himself. And that clip actually comes from a 1986 documentary done on CBS about the vanishing black family. And this is the typical mentality of a male who resonates on the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. His whole objective was to gain sex. Remember, sex is on the absolute bottom. He said he's not going to stop his pleasures for another woman. So he leaves the responsibility off on her. But responsibility and leadership is also a self-actualization part of mind. So a person who's on the bottom, one, is never going to accept responsibility for their choices and decisions. They're always going to blame someone else, and they're also always going to stay on the bottom of that hierarchy. And as long as they are in environments that are conducive to allowing them to stay there, they will never rise. So I just wanted to visually show you that if you like this type of commentary, these type of breakdowns, make sure you click subscribe and hit the notification bell. I do want to hear your comments as well, so make sure you leave your comments in the comment section. If you like it, I'll see you on the next episode. Peace. Thanks for coming out. I'll see you soon.